Hi guys, join me and my friends as we explore Seoul, South Korea. This is our first time during the early autumn and the weather was very pleasant. We felt the heat though since I guess we overdressed. The trip was from October 12 to 16, 2023 and the temperature ranged from 11 degrees to 21 degrees Celsius. We booked a private car via Klook to bring us from Incheon Airport to Fraser Central Seoul, but because we arrived at 10 a.m., we weren't allowed to check in yet, and we decided to have our lunch in Gwangjang Market. So here, we tried the famous twisted donut. The tip is if there's a long queue, join the party as it is super worth it. There are plenty of affordable pasalubongs to buy here. So if wala naman na kayo pupuntahan, I suggest i-push nyo siya yung pagsashop ni God. So konting laps lang dito, hati-hati lang if you're with friends para hindi kayo mabilis mabusog and you can try more food. So, we also visited this place because of the Netflix auntie kasi na-curious kami sa Goyang Kalguksu in knife-cut noodles, which she is known for. And because I love soup, benta talaga siya sa akin. Super haba lang ng pila, mga around 30 minutes waiting time din kami. And since nasa Gwangjang na din naman kami, we tried the Onion Cafe here kasi super sarap ng pizza pastry nila talaga, especially with coffee. Yun lang yung tinda nila dito, kaya parang na-master na nila yung pagkakagawa. We tried the train din. Master din kasi yung navigation si Russell, so it was easy for us to move around. Though mas mura yung taxi sa Seoul kesa sa Singapore, so panay na pa rin talaga kami ng pagta-taxi. Our next stop was actually at Dongdaemun Design Plaza. Nakaka-amaze yung architecture ng buildings dito. Very neo-futuristic siya. Meron din sila magnificent artworks in Media Lab, kaya must-visit site din siya talaga. So at 3 p.m., we decided to go back to our hotel para maka-check-in and maka-freshen up na rin kami kasi lapot na kami guys. Mainit siya, so mag-t-shirt lang kayo and magdala lang kayo ng jacket siguro. Fraser Place, Central Seoul is in a more peaceful location, 5 minutes from Sodaemun Station, pero wala siya sa center ng busy Myeongdong. I booked this place kasi malaki yung rooms, around 32 square meters siya for sole property. May mini kitchen pa siya sa loob ng room, so very comfortable yung stay namin. So change outfit din kami on the late afternoon of day 1. Gusto naming mag-try ng chicken and beer. Yung nakikita mo sa Korean dramas ba? So on our way to Namsan Tower, may tutu chicken, so pinush na namin dito. Super lakad and calorie burning yung eksena namin sa Namsan Tower, guys. Maraming hagdan dito. Yung binook namin sa clock is may kasamang cable car na. Namsan Tower is an iconic landmark and popular tourist destination for its cityscape views. It is also right in the center of Seoul, so it is very convenient to visit. Then, we proceeded to the observatory where we have a magnificent view of the city lights. We also tried the hot dog, yung popular Korean street food nila, which is filled pancake. And because we're near Sia convenience store, we might as well try their food. Day 2 is the Nami Island tour that starts from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and we also booked the trip via Klook. Due to the transport problem, we were not able to visit Petit France and Italian Village, so we went straight ahead to the Garden of the Morning Calm in the Gapyeong district. This botanical garden houses 5,000 species of plants, kaya pak na pak naman talaga magpa-picture taking dito na parang pang prenup. Since the tour started super early, nagutom na kami kaya we tried yung food nila doon like the ice cream, potato tornadoes, and corn dog. Then we proceeded to lunch na self-paid before heading over to the 5-minute boat ride that brought us to the Nami Island. The tour was short, as in for autumn pictures lang talaga, kaya we were not able to fully enjoy the location. Then we went straight ahead to the rail park. Super nag-enjoy kami dito, lalo na yung mga boys. Super lamig lang talaga, kaya better prepare na your gloves and your jackets here. You're gonna pass by the tunnels with different music and illumination themes, kaya sobrang nakaka-enjoy siya. Then we boarded the romantic train. The city light views, the weather na super lamig, the bridge are perfect elements of romance na naman. This is where the trip actually ended before they sent us to the Myeongdong station. So since nasa Myeongdong na din naman kami, we tried their famous street food na perfect replacement naman for dinner kasi sobrang nabusog kami. Please ensure na meron kayong enough cash kasi cash basis lang sila sa mga stalls na to. We ended day 2 naman na pagod pero busog. Day 3 is our DMZ tour inclusive of the Mahjong Suspension Lake trip in Paju. We booked this then via Klook. It was actually a rainy day but the weather cannot conceal the beauty of the bridge. Naloka lang kami kasi trekking pala to. It is a 220-meter long and 1.5-meter wide suspension bridge. We walked for about 30 to 45 minutes. It has a different entrance and exit, so make sure na if you're not physically able, do not join this trip. Then we took the long stairs they call Stairway to Heaven kasi the bus was parked there to proceed to the DMZ location. Sa DMZ, the demilitarized zone, there is kind of like an introductory tour that shows the remnants of the World War II and the Korean War. We saw the bridge where the prisoners of war were released by the North and the South, the rusting train that was shot by the North in its attempt to steal this locomotive, and the girls that represented the comfort women forced into the job during the war. Then we also had a self-paid 1-hour lunch in there. The soup was perfect for the weather. Then we proceeded to the Door Observatory where we've seen the North Korean border. We also visited Palagay's yung third infiltration tunnel discovered in 1978. I do not recommend this for seniors and those with claustrophobia kasi it spans almost 1 mile long siya and very steep yung steps. And because we were tired and exhausted, we opted for a spot in Sedong. This is a traditional Korean spa right in the center of Seoul. I highly recommend this place kasi super na-relax kami and ang babait ng owners and very caring. This is the perfect solution for days of non-stop walking for the uncles and aunties of Sambawang. Then the perfect ending for day 3 is samgyeopsal, the Korean barbecue, a soju, and a kimchi soup. Day 4 is free and easy. We started early for a hanbok tutorial para wala masyadong tao and we can take as much time as we can to give justice to these royal and majestic outfits. Then we went straight to the rain report for breakfast. It opens 10:30 a.m. and it was a 30-minute taxi ride from the National Palace Museum. The cafe is very relaxing because you can see the raindrops while having coffee and feasting over their yummy bread selection. We were delighted kasi nakikita lang namin to sa TikTok before and now we're here. Next in our itinerary is to visit the Starfield Library sa Coex Mall, but on our way there, we saw the Gangnam statue right outside of the property. So we decided to join the picture-taking queues before heading over to the futuristic library. The Starfield Library is an open public space where anyone can freely come and visit. It has a 13-meter tall bookshelves and 500,000 books. Then we went ahead and for late lunch, we chose Myeongdong for a delectable and satisfying samgyeopsal. Again, before our afternoon shopping. Iba yung pork nila dito guys, super lambot and melt in your mouth siya talaga. Then we headed over for afternoon shopping para sa mga pasalubongs and also for skincare products, which is very famous naman talaga in Korea. Part of our must visit actually is the Han River, so we went to Uido Hanggang Park at the nighttime where we had a picnic of beer and Korean noodles in a cold weather, just like the Korean dramas that we see on Netflix. It closes 10:30 p.m., so make sure to come before that. Day 5 and our last day was spent early on at Onion Cafe at Angkok. This is one of the must-visit cafe in Seoul, so kahit napuyat na pagpapack last night, hindi namin siya pinalampas. There was already a long queue as soon as it opens and konti pa lang din yung bread na nabibake nila. Super sarap niyang brownie na yan with cream cheese on top, and I believe it's one of their best sellers. This cafe location is famous for its hanok decoration, the traditional Korean house first built in the 14th century. Then we went to the Lotte department store back in Myeongdong that opens at 10:30 a.m. to buy the famous Tambourine's perfume, Gentle Monster shades, and other last-minute shopping. Our Korean trip was fun and memorable. We loved the food and the weather, and we plan to bring our kids in our next visit. Until our next trip,